Alright guys, welcome back. It's Tommy with another best of 5 series from the Team Liquid Star League, and as you can see, quite a surprising move here by REYNOR, who is known to be one of the best Zergs. Actually decides here to go for Protoss versus the current world champion. So in the upper left in the yellow we have REYNOR from Italy, and his opponent here in the upper right in the purple, it is SERRAL, the world champion, one of the best Zergs, if not the best Zerg currently on the world. So like I told you, Team Liquid Star League, it is once again the best of 5 as the spawning here on the map ASL Stargazers. Very recent replays out of September, I believe it was the end of September. So yeah, let's just check really quick their build orders, what exactly is going to happen here, and what exactly is REYNOR going to prepare here against SERRAL, as he of course knows the Zerg race very well. He's opening up pretty standard with his pylon into gateway, also goes for a gas here. Let's check SERRAL. SERRAL goes very standardly here enough with his fast expansion, as his overlord is also moving out here on the map. So like I told you, the interesting move is going to be we're going to find out what exactly the build order here from REYNOR is going to be. I did cast one of his games where he plays Protoss, and he actually went for mass phoenixes. So let's just see if this is once again his decision. Perhaps he thinks that mass phoenixes would be of course a strong counter towards any Zerg, perhaps just to snipe those overlords especially, and also perhaps to pick up some drones, as his probe is also very early out. First, just to check what exactly the build order is going to be here. We have a gas, we have that spawning pool, as we also close in at around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, where exactly the Zerg is going for that second expansion. Now here's the overlord, of course a very important overlord, as it will be very likely hidden here by SERRAL, or is he just moving here towards this location, but he might even send out a second overlord just to scout that timing for the second important building here from the Protoss. So it might be a Twilight Council, it could be even a blinking Stalker push, but like I told you, it could also be air, it could be even mass oracles would be an option here for REYNOR. So his gateway is ready. You can see the APM very high here by both players. The overlord is checking of course the proximity, there is that expansion point, and we might see soon SERRAL going for his second expansion point, as the first Zerglings are also here out on the map. So let's just check. Yeah, there is that drone, and yeah, around the 2-minute and 30-second mark, of course, the Zerg will take that second expansion point very soon here. Let's just check the main. We have speed being done for those Zerglings, and the probe is still getting chased away by the Zerglings as well. So once again, let's just check REYNOR. We actually see a Stargate, so the first Stargate indicating of course to us that it will be a rush with some oracles. We can already see that rally point here straight towards this location right here, so we might of course see that first oracle pop out really quick. There's that Stalker. Warp is also being researched here, as we have 20 even 30 workers now versus 26 from SERRAL. Now SERRAL of course parking his units here, just wanted to know when exactly or if there's going to be a army push out here by REYNOR. Also another important overload here for him was of course just to scout his proximity, just to see if there's going to be some air coming towards his way, and of course see the production tab here in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. And the first oracle is also being produced here by REYNOR. So yeah, of course SERRAL is preparing his macro oriented game, still only at tier 1. He might hide his tier 2, perhaps even into this location, perhaps here. But yeah, let's just see what exactly is going to happen here, as the first oracle is now moving out here on the map. 2 queens are however really fast to intercept, and we even see one spore being made here by SERRAL. So very early spore by him, as it also is a spore here into this location. So SERRAL might know this tactics. He might expecting massive amounts of oracles here by REYNOR versus him. Not that many gateway units, just a couple of adepts roaming around the map, as REYNOR is also taking here his expansion with a very close by overlord. So SERRAL pretty much has a great map awareness as the first 2 oracles are out. So let's just see if REYNOR is going to be able to snap some of the drones here, but we do see that spore. We do have 2 queens here into this location, and yeah, in comes the attack, but yeah, REYNOR is pretty much being pushed back, as one oracle has already lost its shield, so he might try to attack this location, but yes, SERRAL is also prepared for that with 3 queens here. And let's just see, we actually see one phoenix being produced here. So the first phoenix is being produced, and we also see a second Stargate. So a quite interesting strategy here by REYNOR versus SERRAL. And like I told you, just like in the previous game, he is actually once again going for those phoenixes, but we see a nice hidden roach warrant by SERRAL into a very unusual location, of course, to prevent any scouting here by REYNOR. So this is could be, of course, a timing push, but we also see yet another expansion here by REYNOR. As finally the oracles are moving forward, snapping one drone, but in the end this will be pushed back and one oracle is falling really low as more and more of that creep is getting spreaded here by SERRAL. So yeah, quite an interesting game. Let's just see if those phoenixes will be very strong as a counter towards the Zerg. We also see a nice hidden forge in the back, so we might go for some more upgrades here. And yeah, some Zerglings are of course roaming around, just scouting the map here. There's a nice wall of here with one stalker, so REYNOR should be fine. One pylon here to secure this location. Lots and lots of gas are being mined. So yeah, REYNOR giving much importance towards that gas mining, as SERRAL looks like he's preparing that macro-oriented game. Also adding here an infestation pit. He has his tier 2 up. More queens are of course roaming here on the map, and we see the first strong push out here by the phoenixes. It's around 6 phoenixes, actually no more, 7 phoenixes here, so he might try to snap some overlords. Let's just see, the timer is around the 6-minute mark, so let's have a look what exactly the plans are here for REYNOR. It's just a couple of Zerglings here for SERRAL, but he's going very heavily into those roaches all of a sudden, and he's also moving here out. Hold on, we actually have a reaction here by SERRAL, and this is actually not getting punished, as the phoenixes from REYNOR are pretty much busy here snapping some Zerglings, but this is really important here as SERRAL is preparing a surprise here for REYNOR. Actually going to add a Night Swarm, and so many queens are going to pop out here. Even one creep pack is being spawned, yet another worm is being spawned here as the roaches also coming here forward. So REYNOR in some serious trouble early on. The queens will be a perfect counter towards those phoenixes, and he even has some ravagers, so one ravager is getting now killed, but in the end so many queens on the ground as some stalkers are coming to try here to fend this off. But yes, so much has been added by the world champion here for against REYNOR. So SERRAL with a great timing push. Quite a nice surprise here versus his opponent, and I believe REYNOR is going to choose Zerg into his next game. So yeah, let's just pop straight into game number 2. And we're back with game number 2, and quite indeed REYNOR is going to be choosing now Zerg, so quite a great timing push with those worms by SERRAL around the 6-minute and 30-second mark. REYNOR sadly not paying attention, not having a pylon up there, so pretty much took him by surprise. So nice stuff here by the world champion. A great cheesy strategy you might say, but in the end the defenses here by REYNOR were not up, so they were punishing of course REYNOR very hard with his queens, with his roaches and ravagers. So yeah, we're now into game number 2 on Cosmic Sapphire, as we have now in the lower right, in the yellow it is REYNOR, and his opponent here in the upper left in the purple it is SERRAL. So Finland versus Italy, it is once again a all-European engagement here onto this map. So let's just check their build orders really quick. Let's just see if there's going to be a difference here. Currently just both players at the same time are here going for their expansions, and both players just droning up. You can see the production tab here in the upper left part. We had a pause here by REYNOR, but yes, things go on. So pretty much the same build order for both players, as even the overload timer here is perfectly here in the middle of the map. Second overloads are also pushing here out the map, so pretty standard stuff. Even the spawning pool looking like at the same time on the extractor here as well, so nothing out of the ordinary yet here for both players, as they're of course preparing their games. A nice ZVZ we're gonna have here on Cosmic Sapphire, in between actually two of the best Zergs of the world. And of course let's just see what, if there is going to be a difference, what exactly they will prepare for us. We might see some Baning attacks, we might see some Zerglings attack, we might even see some roaches and ravagers, and yeah, we even could see some mutalisks, so it would be very surprising. You might even see some ultras, some broodwars. Everything is possibly here, as currently both players of course with their same build order in between them. And we also close here to the 2-minute and 30-second mark, so we might see that the second expansion point go up for them, as currently still the first queens are getting spawned, more and more drones are being produced, even the first Zerglings are being produced now, so nothing out of the ordinary yet. A pretty standard build order here for any ZVZ matchup, so no fast spawning pool, no intentions of an early aggression, pretty much the same build order here for both players. And let's just see who exactly is going to be first into attacking, what exactly the units are going to be into attacking here, as yeah, more and more drones are getting spawned. The first Zerglings are also out the map, so it's very interesting to see the build order here. Of course, if you want to learn Zerg, these two players are very good at it. So we also see that second expansion point and one here, so the Zerglings will attack this location. Same can be said here by REYNOR, and he needs to be of course careful as it's going to get fended off, but still SERRAL being more aggressive here, dealing more damage towards this one hatchery, as the queen has to of course come out, but also spread that creep. And we see a Baning's Nest into this location. Let's just check. Yes, indeed, there is also Baning's Nest here for SERRAL, so we might see some Banings, we might see some Zerglings fighting it out very soon. But until then, let's just see more and more drones are actually being produced. You can pretty much see the same build order here for both players, so nothing quite out of the ordinary yet. As yeah, let's just have a look at the next steps. They also prepare a nice wall of here with a Baning's Nest, with an evolution chamber, and only one Baning's Nest here for SERRAL, so his entrance is pretty much exposed. But he has some Zerglings, and now he's also adding that evolution chamber into his location just to have that wall of shot. So yeah, more and more Zerglings are being produced, and some Banings might also get produced very soon. Currently just more and more of that creep is getting spread out. The Overlords is nicely checking the proximity here. And yeah, let's have a look who exactly is going to be choosing to attack first, what exactly is going to happen, as some drones are actually moving out here for REYNOR, so just transferring some drones into this location. The same can be said of course by SERRAL as well. So yeah, slowly but steadily we're closing towards the 5-minute mark here, and yet no major engagement, no Zerglings getting rushed around the map. Speed of course has been done, no Banings, I don't see no Banings on the net. We do see however a Roach War now being added by REYNOR, but the same can be said here for SERRAL, so this could be a transition into Roaches. We might see some Roach attack very soon, and of course it was going to be very important to see their micro here, just to micro those units. And yeah, just focus fire perhaps onto one Roach or another one. It's going to be very interesting to see who is better into doing that, as some Banings are also now getting spawned. So yeah, still anyone's game. Of course, we're at the beginning of the game. More and more units are getting added. The upgrades are also getting added here for those Roaches. We even see speed being done here for REYNOR for his Overlords. So I guess he really wants to scout the map, the proximity of SERRAL. So yeah, currently one Baning is out just for some protection against massive amounts of Zerglings. And yeah, slowly but steadily the game is continuing here as more and more buildings are getting added. Another evolution chamber here by REYNOR for those upgrades, of course giving much importance towards those upgrades. And we now see SERRAL transitioning to some Roaches, into some Ravagers, and we also have another Nidoswarm, so he's giving quite a lot of important stuff here towards his Nidoswarm. Let's just see where exactly he's going to attack. He has of course a vision with this Overlord here. There's another Overlord here into this location, so very soon we might see him choose his position, and he's looking like he's going to go for a timing push. But luckily here for REYNOR, he's coming forward with his Overseer. He should be able to see this one Nidoswarm very soon. Or is he? In he comes. He's going to see the Roach Warrant, of course. The Nidoswarm is pretty much ready, as SERRAL actually decides to walk here instead of using that Nidoswarm. And yeah, there's this one Nidoswarm for him. Some Zerglings will actually be trapped here, so nice move here by SERRAL, of course. Great flank by him, almost getting a complete surround towards those Zerglings. And yeah, in comes the attack very soon. Of course, he's going to wait for his reinforcements. There's even another Nidoswarm here being added by SERRAL as in comes the attack. So of course we're going to be seeing as nicely SERRAL is attacking one Roach after the other, now even targeting the Queen. And sadly here for REYNOR, not all of his forces were fully engaged here, as the reinforcements just came in from the back. We also see 5 drones being killed as SERRAL is getting forced back, but at the same time he's popping out here into another location. So he's much more mobile, and he's even ready to snipe 12 drones here. So that Nidoswarm was quite a great decision by him, as he's now even sniping Roach after Roach, of course also taking some damage. But it's looking like very good here for SERRAL, as he also forced some drones to retreat. Same time once again he's pushing just out all over the map, just being much faster here with those Nidoswarms on the ground. And a great abusement here by him, by the world champion versus REYNOR. But Reynar looking like he's going to regroup. Another Night Swarm has popped out and more roaches are being added. 14 drones have been killed. Serral still targeting roach after roach. Queen now after queen. We even have a spine here by Reynar. As here Reynar looking like he's going to hold the position. And in the end pushing back here the world champion. So pretty good defense, but in the end sadly also many drones have been lost here by Reynar as Serral just keeps preparing attack after the attack, and Reynar looking like he's going for the counter against Serral, and this Serral is going to be ready for that as more roaches of course are being produced here for him as well. And yeah, pretty good hold, but sadly here for Reynar, like I told you, he has lost so many workers, so he has to rebuild those workers. Army wise they're pretty much at the same amount upgrade wise as well, as Serral once again preparing an attack here versus his opponent with another nice one. And he's going straight for this one hatchery, pretty much exposed hatchery, but in comes Reynar. So army wise they're both at the same count, but still Serral nicely multitasking here over the place, splitting his troops, deciding to attack on different locations, even sniping this one hatchery, of course luring Reynar here away, and now it's just pretty much going to retreat into another position. So great snipe here by Serral. At the same time some units are coming back, so some roaches will be sniped. Pretty good engagement here by both players. A nice defense here, but in the end Reynar losing workers, losing this one hatchery, so I would say that Serral is a little bit ahead here versus his opponent. At the same time he's also taking this expansion into this location, so yeah, let's just see what exactly is going to happen here. Army wise still pretty much the same actually. Reynar having more supply here than the world champions. All of a sudden Reynar having more of that army here. Let's just see, going to try for a counter attack as he should be able to snipe this worm, and he's moving forward with his strong force. But yeah, look at that, all of a sudden Serral now having more army, so it's going to come out into this fight a small choke point here versus Reynar. Serral also going for a regroup. At the same time we see a overseer here, Serral might try to add another worm into attacking Reynar. And yeah, let's just have a look. So many roaches have been added by the world champion, and some Ravagers as well. He has 4 Ravagers. Same can be said here for Reynar, also having 4 Ravagers. What exactly is going to happen here? Finally we have passed the 10-minute mark, and of course still anyone's game. A great defense, but in the end Reynar comes back really strong. He has now 66 workers, also quite a strong army force, but Serral having actually 20 more supply. Here comes the attack. Roaches versus roaches here. We have a nice roach war in between them, as they will be targeting themselves. Of course, those players looking for a better position for their roaches for a surround maneuver. We even have some roaches injured this one overall, so Reynar goes for the counter. And all of a sudden we have actually a worm here in the back once again. Serral even taking me by surprise, as though so many drones will fall once again. So Serral forcing a split here by Reynar. At the same time a strong engagement here in the middle of the map. So nice multitasking here once again by the world champion versus Reynar, as roach after roach is getting sniped, and the hatchery has just been finished, but it's going to also get sniped here by Serral. Really nice job by him, still staying here alive, and so much has been lost here by Reynar all of a sudden. So many drones are pretty much under attack as the reinforcements came here forward by Serral. And yeah, once again Serral showing us the strengths out of that Night Swarm, so he's able to take this game as it is 2-0. So let's just jump straight into game number 3. And we're back with game number 3 in between the two pro players. Quite a exciting series in between them. So Serral taking game number 2 with a great micro with those with those Ravagers, with those roaches, really nicely executed by him versus Reynar. Now they're spawning on inside and out, as we have here in the lower left in the yellow it is Reynar from Italy, and his opponent here in the upper right in the purple it is Serral from Finland. So yeah, once again Zerg versus Zerg. Reynar still now staying of course to his Zerg sides, but this is a best of 5, so in case Serral is going to win this, he will 3-0 Reynar here. So Reynar really has to make up his mind, perhaps change the tactics a little bit, perhaps try something new, maybe a harassment here, as we're going to once again observe the build orders, and we already see a difference here. Serral going for his faster spawning pool here against his opponent, as we see Reynar going pretty standard for that fast expansion into this location. So let's just see how this is going to work out. Of course, the overlords are moving out on the map. There's that expansion here from SERRAL. At around the 1 minute and 9 second mark, we have the spawning pool. There is his gas, so very interesting build order here by him chosen. And we of course see now REYNOR also going into his spawning pool and gas. So perhaps SERRAL is going to try to wrestle a little bit more with the first Zerglings towards REYNOR. Let's see, some larva is out. There's some drones are being produced. Of course, you can see the production tab here in the upper left part, just in case I'm missing something. A fast queen, of course, here as well for SERRAL. So he might also try to spread that creep really fast. And if his Zerglings are also fast, he might try to damage the first expansion point here from REYNOR. So yeah, there are those Zerglings here out moving on the map, going straight towards the base from REYNOR. And let's just see how this is going to work out. We have passed the 2 minute mark. SERRAL very likely is going to take his other expansion point here as well. So yeah, let's have a look how things will unfold. The first queens are also being produced here by REYNOR as the Zerglings do move out here indeed. And let's just see if they will be lucky to take out perhaps a drone or two. But currently SERRAL seems to be just wanting to scout here the map, as both players are of course upgrading their speed towards their Zerglings. So yeah, very fast scout here by SERRAL, but still his Zerglings do get surrounded, so REYNOR should be able to take one or even the second one out. So nice job here by him, as SERRAL is also going to prepare his expansion into this location. So quite a small difference here in between the build order, SERRAL sacrificing those two Zerglings and just to scout the proximity. So we'll also, oh, we have actually a move here by REYNOR. He went into a Baning's nest, so he's actually expecting a harassment by SERRAL very soon, but no such thing yet by him, as he's just pumping out some Zerglings, but not that of a high number of Zerglings towards his enemy. So yeah, the overlords are of course nicely being placed here by REYNOR, just to see any move out here by his opponent by SERRAL. So the first Zerglings are out. REYNOR also having quite a heavily number of Zerglings. Let's just check the other buildings. Some evolution chambers just to create a nice wall of here, just to not allow any move forward. And SERRAL actually pretty much exposed here, but he's pumping more and more of those Zerglings out. So it looks like SERRAL is going to try to attack REYNOR very soon. And yeah, more and more drones, more and more Zerglings are getting spawned. So let's just see if SERRAL is indeed going to be the first one, the first aggressive one, and we actually see some banings of course for some defensive purposes here for REYNOR. And actually the first expansion point is already taking some damage. The banings are also coming here forward, so SERRAL indeed is the first aggressor here. Some Zerglings will have to take care of those banings, but a good connection here out of those banings from REYNOR. And the hatchery has taken quite some damage, so the queens have to move forward to repair it, to heal it. And at the same time we see some Zerglings here make it before, but the queen has taken of course care of that. So yeah, let's just see REYNOR just moves here forward now with a higher number of Zerglings, but SERRAL might get a good surround here, as REYNOR will be like just damage this one hatchery here, and also getting a good surround here, but in come the banings. At the same time a nice counter here for SERRAL, and he's actually taking out the queen, but at the same time those banings getting some good connections here versus him. Very interesting, great game here, and REYNOR even going for this expansion point. Tries to snipe it of course, but there are some banings here to react for SERRAL and just push this one back. And let's have a look. The Roach Horn is now being added by REYNOR, and I don't see a Roach Horn yet here for SERRAL. Perhaps it's already being done. Oh yes, indeed, there it is. So we might see a transition once again by both players into mass roaches, into mass ravagers. We're about to find out, as they're still trying to harass each other with those Zerglings. Two Zerglings even make it here forward. He might try to snap some of those drones here. Interesting stuff here by SERRAL, keeping them on sort of a patrol here. But the real action is of course happening here at the expansion point, as some Zerglings do make it here forward. And a great connection now by this one banings, as we also see a tier 2 upgrade now for REYNOR. Same can be said here for SERRAL, as his tier 2 is quite faster. But yeah, in comes REYNOR with his Zerglings, and he might try to harass them in the line. Of course, SERRAL leaving the door open, going to take quite some damage here. Some drones will fall, so nice job here by REYNOR moving forward. taking out some drones. Really nicely executed by him. So let's just see one roach even getting surrounded here as more and more roaches are being added here by SERRAL, and quick connections out of those banelings. Really nicely done, but income the reinforcements here by REYNOR. So many roaches all of a sudden by him as much damage is being taken by SERRAL, and nice regroup here by REYNOR. REYNOR seems to be having more and more roaches versus his opponent. Now in comes REYNOR with a better position, so REYNOR has to retreat now into a better position. And let's just see what's going to happen here as we have the 6 o'clock position now being taken by REYNOR, and more of course defensive roaches have been added here as well by him. As they have more and more roaches, it will be once again a roach war in between them. Of course, everything going to come down into that micro from those post players. And yeah, things have settled down a little bit as we move forward slowly but steadily towards the 10-minute mark. And let's just check the worker count real quick. 70 workers for REYNOR and 66 for SERRAL. The army is also much higher here for REYNOR, so REYNOR with a much better game 2 here versus his opponent. And yeah, let's just see. SERRAL also takes this base, but REYNOR base is quite faster than his opponent, as overlords are still scouting the map. Still REYNOR expects an attack by SERRAL, but no such thing yet by him. SERRAL also expecting REYNOR to move out, finding a good position here, having some roaches on the high ground. As yeah, more and more roaches have been added here by REYNOR, and we also see a spire. So we might see a transition here by REYNOR into some Mutalisk. It would be really interesting. Or perhaps is it a fake spire attempt by him? This might try to force SERRAL into going for some Hydras. So there's his reaction immediately after seeing this one spire strongly going into that Hydras. And of course Hydras very good against air. And yeah, in comes the overseer once again just to see if there are any Mutalisks being produced. We see some larvae, but actually it's roaches, overlords, and only one Mutalisk. Yeah, there it is. Perhaps for some abusement, perhaps just to scout, perhaps just to snap some drones. We also see a spore, so nice reaction here out of the world champion, immediately adding those spores, and we actually see 4 Mutalisks now in the air. I believe he will also try to snipe as many overlords as possible just to keep SERRAL supply blocked, and he might even try to snap this one overlord over here. So yeah, REYNOR, like I told you, with a much better game here versus SERRAL as he's moving forward with his opponents, with his roaches here. And yeah, the Mutalisk still scouting here, the proximity still scout for some overlords into this location. There, let's just see what's going to happen here. We might see a strong engagement here at the expansion point. Roaches versus roaches. We even have some Hydras here from SERRAL, so quite an interesting move. SERRAL tries to kite, of course, nicely back and forth. We see, of course, a good micro. Everyone tries to evade those fireballs out of the Ravagers. Nice micro at the end. I believe SERRAL seems to be having enough as his reinforcements also coming here forward. And it's actually a transition into Hydra, so we might even see some lurkers now here by him. So yeah, SERRAL holds, but at what cost? As in come down Mutalisk. Mutalisk will be very likely going to try to snap more and more of those overlords, perhaps try to snap even some workers. They're moving out here into this location. And yeah, overlords indeed. So this is the plan for REYNOR. He really wants to keep SERRAL supply blocked, as he even might try to snipe some workers over here. And REYNOR splitting his troops really nicely here, forcing a split by SERRAL as well. So SERRAL will of course hold this position, but the real damage is going to be taken here into this location as so many drones are exposed. So nice job here by REYNOR, splitting his troops, forcing the pullback. Even the Mutalisks are attacking here, but yeah, this one hatchery has been taken out. So great move here by REYNOR, forcing that split and taking this one hatchery. A great advantage now for him. Of course, this small task force has done its job really nicely. SERRAL is being cornered, he's being attacked from multiple sides, and even the Mutalisks are still being harassed in here. Yeah, nice job by REYNOR. Great multitask indeed by him, and this could be the winning move as he's sniping more and more of those drones, more of those overlords. But yeah, both players have taken quite great casualties. However, worker-wise, SERRAL at only 52 as those Mutalisks in the air have done quite a great job versus the economy, versus the supply, versus those overlords. Of course, SERRAL has to keep some Hydras next to those overlords here into this location just to have that protection versus the air. So yeah, nice, great game. I believe Reynor is very likely going to be taking this game. Such a much better game by him versus the world champion. And yeah, let's see what's going to happen here as SERRAL tries to move out with one overload. And once again, those is just a number of 5 and 4 to 5 Mutalisk, doing quite a great job here for Reynor, as we once again see an engagement in the middle of the map. A pretty good position here by Reynor with his roaches and getting a good flank. And this, of course, this has to be the GG. It's a great position here for Reynor. So Reynor taking game number 3. It's 2-1. Let's just jump straight into game number 4. And we're back with game number 4, this time spawning in the low left in the yellow. It is Reynor from Italy and his opponent here in the upper right in the purple, SERRAL from Finland, the current world champion, as they're spawning here on Data C. So yeah, quite a much better game here by Reynor. Nice touch with those 4 Mutalisk. Reynor showing us the importance into the middle of the game for those 4 Mutalisk, just to snap those overlords, just to keep your enemy supply blocked. And of course also take out some drones, even some roaches if you're lucky. And at the same time he nicely splitted the army, and that of course allowing him to snap that one hatchery. So great strategic move by the Italian player versus the world champion. Very nicely done by him. So yeah, let's just see how things will unfold. But here he's still 2-1 down, so he has to win this game just to tie the series up. And we see the same build order by both players going for their fast expansion here into their locations. We had a pretty standard stuff on Data C. The overlords are also moving out here on the map, as we might even see a transition into some Hydra, some Mutalisk. We might see a different strategy by the both players. So let's just see what their options are going to be, what they're going for. This is going for a extractor and spawning pool. Same can be said of course here for SERRAL. So the same build order by both of them, very nicely executed. And yeah, like I told you, Reynor is down 2-1, so he really has to win these games. Have been played, like you see from the color, once again from the Team Liquid Star League. So I believe you see yellow and purple, you can of course know that it is taken from September 2022. Team Liquid, of course, a known clan into eSports, a very nice clan, also being present in Dota and I believe in Counter-Strike as well. So yeah, quite a great plan here to have in gaming. So yeah, the first overlords do make their way out, scouting the proximity, checking out exactly what is happening. So the standard build order finally for both players. You can also check it really nicely out here in the upper left part. There's that production tab. So yeah, let's just have a look when exactly, or if they're going to be going for another expansion, as I'm going to have to drink a little bit of water here. The first Zerglings also out here for both players. SERRAL with 4. Reynor also coming in with some Zerglings. Actually it's 2-2 Zerglings here, so yeah, both players will check of course out their build orders just to see if there is a hatchery or not into this location. And here we also see a Baning's Nest once again here by Reynor. Baning's Nest also here for SERRAL. So yeah, both players opting to go for that Baning's Nest. And we might see a attack very soon. Let's just see who is going to choose to attack with some Zerglings with Banings, or is it just going to be once again a roach war in between them? We're about to find out. Of course, there's always two options: mass Zerglings into Banings. This is exactly why Reynor is preparing, of course, a wall of here. The same can be said by SERRAL as well, also preparing a wall of into this location. So yeah, this expansion is of course quite exposed. There's 2 different locations to attack, so nice strategic expansion there. This one would have also been quite exposed into 2 locations. But yeah, let's just have a look who's going to be the first one attacking, what exactly is going to happen. There's an evolution chamber. I believe SERRAL should also have an evolution chamber. So yeah, everything pretty standardly done. Very interesting here, as yeah, the first drones, actually more roaches, more Zerglings are actually being produced. The first Banings are also being produced by Reynor. You also see those upgrades going out for the ground units, more Zerglings being produced. Quite an interesting series we have here in between the 2 of the best Zergs players in Starcraft 2. as they're just chasing themselves with some Zerglings here, with some Banelings, and we also have to be careful as there it is. So around the 4-minute and 10-second mark, we see the Roach weren't quite at the same timing here for both players. And we will also have to be careful into that tier 2 upgrade when or if it's going to happen, as there are currently just some Zerglings roaming around, just scouting the near proximity worker wise. We even have the same worker count here for both players. As a nice wall of has been prepared here for SERRAL. The same can be said here for REYNOR as well, as his Roach warrant is finished here, but yeah, more and more drones are being spawned, and even there we have that tier 2, and there we have the tier 2 for REYNOR. So yeah, pretty much the same timer here. So they're going around the 5-minute mark, already halfway done. So yeah, let's just see what's going to happen here, what the next steps are going to be, what the next moves are going to be, who is going to attack first, as the first roaches are being spawned here for both players. And lots of larvae is also getting exploded here out of this one hatchery. So yeah, we also have that difference here now, as SERRAL decides to take this expansion point. So REYNOR not having an expansion point, I believe is focusing a little bit more harder onto attacking, and yes indeed, there it is, moving out with his first roaches, also scouting the proximity with those two Zerglings. And yeah, the first roaches will arrive very soon, as SERRAL also has to prepare here his roaches into a more defensive composure here. And yeah, but REYNOR all of a sudden decides to move back. He's of course also fearing a counter, as he now is also taking his expansion. So yeah, still no major engagement, as slowly but steadily we're closing towards the 10-minute mark. Some Zerglings just here to counter 5 of them, but yeah, those overloads are of course nicely getting spreaded, and this one hatchery might take some damage, as the roaches will of course attack very soon. We'll also see a overload, and speed should have also been done here, so we might see a drop being prepared. So quite a surprising move here by the world champion, with an overload, with some roaches into it. I believe he's very likely going to target the main. We also see once again a Spire here by REYNOR, and this seems to be a winning move by him. No Spire of course for SERRAL, at least I don't see one in the production tab. So let's have a look. An Overseer is going to scout this one Spire again, as we see more and more roaches being added. So SERRAL will very likely once again getting forced into creating some high risk, some anti-air, and this. Let's just see if once again REYNOR is going to be going for some of those 4 into 5 Mutalisk 1, 2. Yes indeed, I believe it is pretty much the same build order, the same game, just like in game number 1, as now REYNOR is moving out with his forces, with his roaches, straight towards this one expansion point. And what exactly is going to be the answer here for SERRAL? He might try for Nidus Swarm. He is also having this one overload with some roaches, as 10 drones have been killed here. So nice engagement. I believe that was a Banelings attack by REYNOR, nicely executed, taking out 10 workers here for him, and at the same time there it is, it's just 5 Mutalisk. So quite a good lesson if you're a Zerg facing another Zerg. 5 Mutalisk actually can make a difference here, forcing a supply block versus your enemy, if in case he's going very heavily into those roaches, into those Ravagers. So SERRAL really needs those queens to now protect his army, his overlords especially, as the third overlord is going to get sniped here. So SERRAL once again with a much harder game, but his roaches have been dropped here, 3 drones have been killed. But yeah, REYNOR being present with his roaches as well, with his defensive roaches, and also being able to take out one roach. There no actually no roach, as we also have an infestation pit by REYNOR. But yeah, REYNOR might even try to come back with his Mutalisk, case indeed there it is. So he's taking out the overlord. Already 5 to 4 overlords have been taken out. I said this is also should be clear, but the real action is of course happening here into this expansion point. Once again we have a war in between roaches and Ravagers. Much more supply here for REYNOR. He's going to try once again to split his units, but there's so much damage. Nice volleys out of those fireballs from the Ravagers, and yeah, more and more damage is being taken left and right. You can of course see the damaged units as they drop more and more. And yeah, there it is. There's the GG from SERRAL, as REYNOR is going to be able to take game number 4, sorry. So we're going to head straight into the final game, into game number 5. A great execution, nice touch with those Mutalisk. Once again, the Mutalisk have sniped 5 overlords and bring him the advantage here. REYNOR really interesting strategy. Let's just jump straight into game number 5. Game number 5, the deciding game. We have a 2-2 series now in between REYNOR and SERRAL. A great engagement. Two of the best Zergs, like I told you, as they spawn now here on Tropical Sacrifice. In the upper right, in the purple, it is SERRAL from the Finnish player. And his opponent here in the lower left, in the yellow, it is REYNOR from Italy. So last game, whoever wins this takes the series and moves on. So quite an interesting game here. Interesting games, actually. Nice series. And REYNOR with that nice touch, with that spire, giving us the difference, showing us the difference in the middle of the game. And yeah, those 5 Mutalisks in the air, perfect counter towards those overlords, and also very good into harassing the mineral line from the opponent. So REYNOR with a very interesting and strategic gameplay here by him, giving him the advantage against SERRAL. Yes, let's have a look what exactly is going to happen here, but it looks like the same build order by both players as they're moving out with their expansions. Their overlords also moving out, so we have the pretty standard stuff. No fast spawning pool by any one of them. And yeah, let's have a look what the next steps are going to be. Is it going to be once again those 5 winning Mutalisk here for REYNOR? How is SERRAL going to react to that? What exactly is he going to be doing as he's going for his extractor and spawning pool? Same here for REYNOR, also extractor into spawning pool. So the pretty standard build order here by both players, as they will very likely also prepare their expansion points around the 2-minute and 30-second mark. So quite interesting and strategic gameplay here by both players. And yeah, like I told you, are we perhaps going to be seeing SERRAL go straight for Hydralisk, straight for Mutalisk, just to counter those 5 Mutalisks by REYNOR? We're about to find out. It could be Link, Bane, Hydras here by SERRAL. And yeah, let's just see. Link, Bane, Hydras actually would be a great counter. Still, those roaches are very tanky. And yeah, we're about to find out what the next moves are going to be here. Slowly but steadily we are close towards the 5-minute mark. The first queens also being produced here by both players. So yeah, queens early on was really strong. And let's just see, it's going to be a difference once again into a build order, or are we going to be seeing the same strategic gameplay here by both players? As yeah, we're close towards the 2-minute and 30-second mark. The first Zerglings are also moving out. Overalls are still scouting the map. And yeah, let's have a look what the next steps are going to be here. Is yeah, when exactly the timer is going to be here for a roach warrant or perhaps a fast tier 2. We don't see an expansion point, but hold on, as I said, actually we do have an expansion point, but SERRAL also taking here his expansion. So pretty nice build order for both players. Still the normal build order, no intention into going for a fast tier 2 upgrade, no intention into going into fast Hydras or fast Mutalisk here. So we have the pretty standard stuff, just like in the previous games. And let's just see how this game is going to unfold. Who is going to be doing something different here, or perhaps maybe something out of the ordinary? We're about to find out. Or are we going to be seeing once again a roach war in between them, as we have a Baneling's Nest here for SERRAL and also Baneling's Nest here for REYNOR. So we have both players also going for that speed. So pretty standard stuff. You can actually see the production here in the upper left part, 29 workers for both of them, same amount of an army. So yeah, the pretty standard build order, like I told you, nothing out of the ordinary. Both players are of course preparing their macro orientated game here in between them. Yeah, we're about to find out what exactly the next steps are going to be, as the Zerglings are still roaming around, still try to catch some reinforcements, try to catch perhaps some drones here. Some Zerglings are still scouting the map. Lots and lots of stuff is getting produced. An evolution chamber here for SERRAL, as we also see that evolution chamber here for REYNOR. One Zergling is still scouting the map, so pretty standard stuff. As there we have that one roach horn once again going out here for SERRAL. Yeah, still of course it's very important to have that scouting ability against your opponent, just to see exactly what he's going for, what his next buildings are going to be at. There we have that roach warrant here for REYNOR, and a much faster roach warrant here for SERRAL. So this might try to indicate to us that we are going to be seeing an attack by SERRAL very soon versus his opponent. A nice wall of has been created here. This expansion a little bit exposed here for REYNOR, as more banelings are actually being produced here by SERRAL, as he's closing more faster towards his opponent. Actually, we can see the move out, we can see lots and lots of Zerglings moving out. Some banelings are just getting now hatched here for REYNOR. They will be targeted by SERRAL and Ecom. Those banings getting a good connection against those drones here. Nice around even against this queen, so a surprise attack here by SERRAL versus his opponent, taking him by surprise. Still the banings are alive for SERRAL as this one expansion is under siege, under attack, so much aggressive gameplay here by SERRAL, taking here REYNOR by surprise with massive amounts of Zerglings and some banings, getting some good connections, of course, attacking the exposed expansion here, and there's that wall of here being prepared by REYNOR as the banings will get some good connections, pushing back here SERRAL. Some roaches are out here as well, and I believe REYNOR should be able to hold this, but at what cost? He just lost this one expansion here, and worker wise they have the same worker amount, but in the end still the expansion has been lost, as REYNOR should have the economic advantages. Sorry, SERRAL, as REYNOR has to rebuild that hatchery. The timing has been lost here by him. And yes, SERRAL just once again preparing a task force with some Zerglings, tries to attack towards that expansion point once again, tries to damage it. So REYNOR has to leave some roaches here. At the same time, he also has to be careful with this one wall of here, as SERRAL might even try to take this one through. His Zerglings are roaming around nearby. What exactly is producing? There we have that spire. Once again, a good reaction here by REYNOR with this one spire. Is it going to be once again the winning move by him with the spire, as we have lots and lots of roaches being produced here by SERRAL? So SERRAL taking out this expansion, very nicely done. As yeah, more and more units are getting produced, more and more Zerglings to move out here on the map. And yeah, let's just see, as soon as this one spire is going to get finished, are we going to be seeing some Mutalisk? Is the economy is going to allow him or not to do this? Of course, REYNOR some serious supply damage here, and still having good minerals and good gas for those Mutalisk. The Mutalisk might be the winning move here, might be the good counter against REYNOR, against SERRAL, and there it is. Here we have some Mutalisk being produced, 5 of them, so once again 5 with some roaches for SERRAL. So SERRAL might be in some serious trouble. He needs some anti-air. He might try to have to bring some queens next to those roaches, as he's still roaming around the map. He's still spreading that creep. But yeah, REYNOR with those Mutalisk that are being produced right now. Let's just see if is there a reaction here by SERRAL. Are there any spores being produced? Is there a Hydralisk den out? So we're about to find out what exactly is going to happen. There's lots and lots of roaches while moving out, and now SERRAL sees once again those 5 Mutalisk as he's moving now forward with his roaches. Quite a strong force. Might getting a good flank here against those. One queen is being targeted, and some drones might get targeted here as well, as 3 of them have fallen. And SERRAL is just going to walk here forward, ignoring those Mutalisk in the air. The drones have to be pulled here, not that much being left by REYNOR. There's so many roaches here, so many tanky roaches, because the Mutalisk are in the air, but already 28, 20, 32, 35, so many drones have been snapped here. SERRAL with a crazy move, of course he's going to lose those roaches in the end, but the damage has been done, the economic damage, too much crippling here. REYNOR has so many roaches have been snapped, REYNOR dropping to 23 and even having to lose those roaches. So nice counter here by SERRAL in the end, not allowing him to go into mass Mutalisk, just willingly being able to sacrifice those roaches for the greater good. 42 drones have been killed here by REYNOR, sorry, by SERRAL versus REYNOR. So what a much better game here for SERRAL, as he was much more aggressive in the early game with those Zerglings, with getting some good connections with some banings. But importantly for him, he did snipe this one hatchery, the one expansion, and that of course bringing him the advantage. Still they had the same worker count, but the base from SERRAL was, of course, the 3rd base was pumping out those minerals much faster, and in the end nice timing push here with those roaches, with that sacrifice, and just destroying the economy from the Italian player. So great series from the Team Liquid Star League. Once again, I hope you guys enjoyed this series. We'll be seeing, of course, in the next replays, in the next series. I will be trying to cast longer games, of course. Yeah, this is your host Tommy signing out.